What did it feel like getting the group back together? And first of all, what does it feel like to actually talk to someone?
I just to talk to you. We haven't seen each other in way too long.
Years.
We went through so much press together just before the pandemic and got to see each other so much, which was always such a pleasure. So this is amazing.
Right.
This is as radical as when I got to see this amazing group of people together. Both my original cast, all of us together from the first Jurassic Park, and then this larger cast of Jurassic World. You know, because of the global pandemic, we all lived together for 5 months.
If our world's gonna survive, what matters is what we do now.
I could use your expertise.
You also told me you did some of the ADR in your closet?
Yes.
What?
In fact, we all did. I will remember well my daughter on Zoom in 9th grade across the house, coming in, freaked out, terrified because I was screaming bloody murder because I was running from a Giganotosaurus, but in my closet.
In the house, in the house. Oh my God. And when she finally gets in there, she's like, Mom, really?
Mom, you're gonna scare the neighbors. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm making a dinosaur movie in my closet.
You have lived most of your adult life in this franchise. What has that been like? And people don't realize that.
Yeah, it's been amazing. You know, I mean, what's been incredible as a young actor, having a lot of different worlds that I got to be part of, a world of working with David Lynch and many other directors. This first experience of meeting and finding the genius of Steven Spielberg would turn into a lifelong conversation of families and young children coming up to me, young women in science and history and politics now saying what Dr. Ellie Sattler meant to them as a badass character, as a feminist. So how it has lived and how this character has lived for so many of us has become, in fact, a big part of my whole life.
You played a woman with a doctorate and a tenured professor at the tender age of 23.
Yes.
And people are like, what?
And to see how she would evolve, even in the world of science, you know, for this final Jurassic World film, was a really amazing and delicious collaboration to have with Colin Trevorrow, our co-writer and director, and Steven Spielberg and Frank Marshall, because, you know, she was radical, and she was radical at a time that, as you know very well, we did not see female characters like this in action movies.
No, and it was a big deal to see this woman who was kicking ass, but she was also a professor, and she was on equals with the other people, the men that were there.
Yeah, and even when they were dealing with some hardship or injury, she was like, don't you worry yourself. I'll go get the power back on.
And by the way, she's still like that now. Just so everybody knows, she is still like that.
She's still like that.
You get back, you're reunited with Sam. How was that?
Amazing. I mean, Sam Neill is the dream come true as an actor, as a friend, to go through hard times with. He's just an extraordinary gentleman. And the minute I walked at that dig site into a tent and there was Dr. Alan Grant still waiting for me to show up, I was very moved, and it was really special. And then one of my favorite memories of the whole experience was the first day that Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum and I had a scene together. Him with his, Ian Malcolm with his leather jacket, and Alan Grant with his hat. We got into a Jeep, and as we got in position, we looked out, and the crew was surrounding the Jeep and teary-eyed because they were seeing these characters that they had loved from the first film kind of come back together. And I think this franchise has meant a lot to people growing up, and I think Colin really wanted to bring the nostalgia of the first film back as well.
I also think that people were waiting for the romance between you and Sam. They were so excited. What was that? What was that like, the kiss?
I mean, let's just see what happens.
Right, don't give it away. Don't give it away. But also, this is a movie that's helping bring people back to theaters, the comfort of theaters. And what does that mean, and how important is that?
I mean, I know for me, I was raised by actors, as you know. Going to the movies has been truly one of my great joys of my life. Sharing with strangers that collective experience of storytelling is such a huge part of my life. So for us, a group of us who made the movie only a couple weeks ago, sitting for the first time in a theater, watching the spectacle of this movie.
What's that like?
Amazing.
Right?
Screaming, laughing, cheering for each other, cheering when we would do something crazy, laughing so hard at certain lines. I just felt so incredible, because we're fans. And a lot of the dinosaur sequences we hadn't seen, just like when we saw the first movie. So that was an amazing thing that we hope families and people who love this franchise will really enjoy.
What was it like integrating the new school crew? Because there is a whole new generation coming up now.
Amazing.
Yeah, how were they?
Well, first of all, as a woman who, with an amazing group of collaborators, as we talked about on the first movie, we were really fighting for something new for a female character.
Right. All right.
To then see the franchise continue with Bryce Dallas Howard and now be joined with the amazing DeWanda Wise.
So great.
Who is so great.
Yes.
And live with she and her amazing husband, Alano, and become family. Who really adopted my teenage daughter who was there with us. Was incredible. And she's so amazing. And Mamadou, who's so amazing in the film, the amazing Campbell Scott. I mean, such great new actors joining us.
Is this the end? Is this the end of the line for your character?
Well, dinosaurs are always in all our hearts, and I would say it could never be the end of the potential of where this world could go. And, seemingly it's there's a conclusion to many of the stories that have been left unanswered between Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. But no one could have told me I was ever going to play Dr. Ellie Sattler again when we made this movie in '93. So I ain't saying anything
That's
now.
true, right. You never know. You never know where Ellie will end up because you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
And I feel like also she's a part of, she's like a fixture. For certain things, there are people who, the movies feel weird without you.
Right. Well, I'm so happy she came back, and she came back to really focus on preventing another extinction that dinosaurs have a lot to tell us about. And hopefully the film really holds that messaging, that we need to learn to peacefully coexist, which we can take that on a lot of levels where we need advancement and compassion.
Hey, before we go real quick, what do your kids think of this franchise? Because they've grown up in this franchise. What do they think of it?
My daughter had never seen it till right before we started this movie. My son had seen it because he was a little bit older. Because seeing dinosaurs is scary, but seeing them chase your mother is like a whole nother thing.
Right.
So you have to pick the timing on that. But they're coming with me. Our world premiere is here in Los Angeles, and they're coming with me, and so excited to get to see it. And the families of, our 400 crew members, a lot of us had to be away from our families to keep each other safe. So we really feel like it's a community of our families helping us sacrifice a lot to make this movie as they were, in lockdown, Zoom school and all of that. So it's a shared experience that we're all going to have together with our families.